Happy scrapper, happy scrapper, happy scrapper, whoa. Get ready to watch a happy scrapper video. Happy scrapper, yeah, yeah, here we go.
Alrighty, got my eye protection on, got my gloves on, and I've got my box cutter there. And what I do is I just kind of put my thumb right there on the edge of that blade to kind of guide it. And you just kind of stick that blade down in that and just pop it right out. And that will expose. You might have to take the blade and cut some of that junk right out of that. But see, that gives you access to your screw. May have to clamp this in, but we'll try to see if we can get this to come out. Oh, that one's going to be a booger. Yeah, without having it clamped in to something. But anyway, that's how it exposes those screws. Well, look at that. That's how bad rusty that is. No wonder. I might have to angle grinder, get that out. But that's how you take it out, that protective covering there, to get through that screw. Now, there's some that have a coating in it that you just can't pop out. So let's look at one of those now. All right, this is on a much larger fuse puller, but you can tell how this screw base there is. I mean, you can't pop anything down in there to get that loose. So what you would need to do is just let me get that where you can see it. Take your drill and start in the center, and this drill will drop down in and then loosen this whole piece up, and this whole piece will come out. See how that broke loose? And you can just take that out. Get that off there. And that will give you access to your screw that's in there. And we've got this one in the clamp, so of course I've got them videotaping this, so it's not going to work. Let's look at our other one, see if we can get the other one out real quick. Once that starts turning, it's loose, so that just pops out. Hopefully this one will come a little more cooperative for us. Of course not. There we go. Oh, I'm trying to tighten it up for one thing. Big DA. Alrighty. So that screw comes right out of there and gives you your copper piece. And of course, this is just shred. There we go. All right, let's look at some other fuse holders that you can scrap out. This is a block holder, like you see in a throw box. Your fuse would go from there to there, and basically what you're doing is, this is a throw, would connect the fuse to back and forth. And again, these are the same thing. You have the protective coating there. Take that out and it will expose your screw, and you can unscrew these pieces here, and all this is copper. And another thing you can look out for is these ends that go on here. This is so a smaller BUSS fuse can go in a larger piece. Now, I've seen these on eBay. You know, 2 pair of these selling for like 14 bucks. So that's definitely something that you want to hold back, unless it's got some severe damage to it. You don't want to scrap that out. You want to sell that on. So let's start looking at some of these BUSS fuses and how you can scrap those out. Alrighty, before you start to scrap these out, you want to test them to make sure they're good or bad. If they're good, you want to sell them on. Number one rule to scrapping: it's the cheapest outcome of any profit that you've got there is scrapping. You want to make sure you can sell something on for what it was intended for. That was a lot of rambling to get that out. But you want to just take your multimeter, and I don't have one with me right now, but you'll switch it over to ohms, and then you'll take your two probes from your multimeter, one on one end and one on the other end. Most multimeters, when you first turn it to ohms, it'll say 0.L or 0L, and then if you stick your probe here and your probe there and it stays at 0L or 0.L, this is a bad fuse. Now, if you stick your probe on each end, positive, negative, or black and red, and it goes to quad zeros or 0.00, that's a good fuse because it's continuity between the two. It's moving. And make sure you get your probes dug in there pretty good. You don't want to just touch it on there because you may not get a good contact there. So if it comes up negative, or it comes up, it doesn't go to 0.0000, it's a bad fuse, and it's time to scrap it out and get that copper off each end. So let's start talking a little bit about what's inside here and what's one of the best ways to get this ready to scrap out and scrap it out once you find out it's a bad fuse. Now, the other type of fuse is the glass fuse. That's a good fuse because most of the time you can look through there and see the element through the inside if it's blown or not. It'll have a check there in the middle of it if it's blown. But if you want to check these also, you can take your multimeter again to ohms, either your black or your red, doesn't make any difference. Hold it there to the center, and then this outside lip. Again, if it stays at 0.L or 0L, this is a bad fuse. And if it goes to quad zeros or 0.000, you got a good fuse. Not a whole lot of value in these. I mean, they're still being sold at most hardware stores for older homes and everything, but anyway, it'll be a good fuse. If you go to the flea market or something, you might get a couple bucks out of a group of 4 or 5 of these together. Let's go ahead and talk about how to scrap this out. Most of the time, you want your safety again. Put this in some type of vise there, and just take your screwdriver and twist that top off. And that some of these are going to be copper, some of them is going to be a brass mix. It's fairly thin. You're going to have a whole lot of these to make any weight up at all. So, but let's now look at the cartridge type fuses like this, and talk about what might be on the inside of these and how to scrap them out. Alrighty, here is a cartridge fuse, BUSS fuse if you want to call it that. We've exposed the inside there, and if you can look at this, has got like a sand. I think this is probably a silicone, maybe an aluminum mix there, but just move that back and forth, and that'll get all that filler out of there. And this is just a paper wrapping, and what you wind up with is, and I had that right there so I can show you, this is what's going to be running through the inside, and that's what burns out, and that filler protects this paper coating. When this burns out, it keeps it from causing a fire, and that's what you wind up with is this end cap. Most of the time, if you're going to cut those off, you can just empty all your filler out of there and just throw the whole thing in a bucket, and you're going to get dirty brass or dirty copper, whichever type of fuse that you have. And the larger ones, obviously, are going to have a pretty good sized copper bar. there. That does not extend the whole length. It's riveted in right there. The inside of these is just a larger version of what we've already seen, but the value to these is that large copper bar, and you can see how big that fuse is compared to this guild here. That's a massive, and that's also copper. It's just coated, and that's going to be, again, your value is that cap and that bar there. Alrighty guys, we're going to give away the extra large Carhartt insulated gloves, and these go to Matthew Kyle. Matthew, my email will be in the description. Email me your mailing address along with a little note that says it's for the gloves, and we'll get these out to you. Thank you guys for watching. Like I say, each of my videos is just to give you a general overview of how to scrap something out. It's not a step-by-step. Each person has their own value that they assign to things about what they want to get out of it. But just to give you a little tip here and there to help us all get together, always read the description and the comments down below each video. A lot of people will jump on there and give some really good advice. So Matthew, Kyle, give me your address out and we'll get the gloves out to you. And happy scrapping.